Hello, welcome. You're tuned to The Leg Up, your weekly thoroughbred preview show, Trackside Television's best hour of television, in my humble opinion. Anyway, Paul, good morning to you.
You go for it, mate.
Yeah, I'm sticking with it. No one believes me, but I'm sticking with it. How's the week been a bit on? So you've got a new shirt there.
Yeah, a few things happening. A lot of positive feedback we're getting from punters. And a lot of other feedback we're getting from punters just around the new website and app. But I guess those are the sort of things that you expect when there's a bit of a change going on.
100%. We'll get there, there's no doubt about that. Morning, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Can't complain.
Yep. Week that was, where were we last week? It was Easter Handicap Day, wasn't it? Te Rapa.
Yeah,
Or Travis Day, I should say,
Travis Day Easter being moved, 2.0. Look, a really strong card of some impressive winners outside the features, but heading back to the Easter Handicap, Snazzy Tavi was very good, dominant. Look, she closed a loose fave, around about a $4 chance, but on the eye, visually, you'd have to say if that race was run 10 times, she'd be winning 8 or 9 of them, Snazzy Tavi. So that brings her record to 5 wins from 10 starts, and a very progressive mare. And we spoke about it last week. The key around her was going back to 1,600 metres. Not to say she won't get a mile and a quarter as an older horse next season, etc., but right at the minute, her best performance ratings were at 1,600 metres. Her PB happened to be third when running in the breeders over the hill here at Wairarapa. So, look, she dropped back to the 1,600 metres. I gave her a performance rating of 97.5. Now, putting some context around that number, how does it sit? Stepping up to weight for age Group 1 next season. For example, Hastings in the middle day, 1,600 metres, the Arrowfield stud plate, should probably have to improve 1.5 lengths, and that's all.
It's not much.
No, it's not much, and she'll have a good time in the paddock. I'd say that would have been her swan song in terms of this preparation last Saturday, so she'll have a good time in the paddock, and she continues to lift the bar and progress, and like I say, she's only likely raced 10 starts thus far for Snazzy Tavi, so those are the races I'd be identifying her, being a mare looking for those Group 1 status, potentially as a brood mare down the track. Okay,
let's head north to Hamilton, say good morning to one Brendan Popplewell, who saw it all unfold there at Te Rapa last Saturday, and you'll be there again this Saturday, BP. Morning to you.
Very good morning, team. Yes, nice to be joining you as we work our way into the month of May, and that does mean we'll see some jumps racing on the weekend too out of Te Rapa. First jumps racing. A piece of jumps racing in the northern region. We kicked off at Harwater, so we've got ourselves the Ken and Roger Brown Memorial Steeplechase, and also the first race on the program is a very good jumping card. In and amongst what's going to be a good day of racing with what we see there with the 2-year-old feature as well. So, yep, good weekend last weekend. Different track conditions, which we'll talk about very shortly, and also, of course, a definite tip of the hat to how the track did play last week towards the club, and also, as we said, with that rain that's fallen. We'll see how it backs up a week later. And just another note as well, of course, the real sad passing of Dave O'Sullivan, of course, on Friday. He was laid to rest yesterday. Massive funeral, huge turnout, and great to see all the racing identities there to farewell a legend and an absolute gentleman of the game.
No, we echo those compliments. He deserved a big send-off to one Dave O'Sullivan. Okay, BP, we'll come back to you for Maidener of the Week time. What have you found us? This might hurt a little bit.
Look, it does, but in terms of a review, this is a race where I think we'll look back in a few months' time and go, gee, this was a good field. And it is the 2-year-old race. Sister Kiani is the runner that sits in second position here and idles up to win the race, but how good's the winner? I think you do have to come back and say that as well around Thusa, the 2-year-old filly, and you go back and you'll find the Grand Dam and Sea Change. It looked like the outside horse had the measure, but she kicks back and she wins well. I really did like a couple of other runs in the race too. Moneypenny is a good guide out of the race too, finishing into that 3rd spot. Even Rocky Marciano wasn't the worst, so I think you can follow those first 5 runners across the line, but these 2 runners have got away from the rest of the field. We could see these 2 horses next season in some high-class races. So, yeah, quite an easy one, I think, in terms of making that race a maiden of the week and a watch for a 3-year-old season next season.
Yeah, a few to follow out of that, no doubt, from BP there. Okay, we've got Te Rapa, we've got Riccarton, we've got 2 races from each venue that we're going to have a look at. But, Steve, track conditions at Te Rapa and weather as well.
Well, if you go back 7 days ago, Thaddeus, the rail was in the true position. It was a genuine soft. I think the official rating was 6 throughout the day. Fast forward 6 days leading into race day. It's a heavy 8. They've had a little bit of rain in the last 24, 36 hours to get into that heavy range. The rail was out 4 metres, but it's fine weather today if you're watching the show live on Friday, but more importantly on race day. Temperatures hover high 17, 18 degrees. So look, that track might come back 1 or 2 pentometer readings max, but yeah, I'd be looking at the worst side of soft currently for Te Rapa heading to race day.
Okay, race number 6 on the card. The first race we want to have a look at is the Waikato Equine Veterinary Centre 2-year-old stakes. Steve, run us through this market.
You're headed by Domain Ace, unbeaten 2 from 2 out of the Rogerson barn. 320 into 310, solid at the top. In front of Super Photon, who holds 2 times more money than the fave at 360. Renovations, impressive last start winner on the course at $5. Star Shadow at $9. Double figures around Ballon d'Or. Windrush, we accepted a $300 win bet earlier in the week. Outside that, Ribcracker, number 7 at $26. If this race was to jump right now, Thaddeus, clearly our worst liability now. High lay price, understand that, but early traction around number 7, Ribcracker, who is on the quick backup. But overall summary, nice even spread of money, in particular around the 2 faves, Domain Ace and Super Photon.
Okay, let's have a look at Domain Ace first, BP. 2 from 2. This is the one at Ellerslie. Magnum memory also in this field, but geez, talk about get the job done.
Man, this was really good. And it was a case of how do you line up what the horse did first up? There was that, I guess, the question mark. You had a couple of other different form lines to work with here, and the one being Love Poem, of course, who was very strongly backed into the red at around $1.60. The main aces just sat back, swept straight past them, and won with a fair bit in hand, really. As I said beforehand, that win at Otaki was a good victory. It went round at what was it, $11, somewhere around that mark. There was some chat after that day that the horse won that could the runner back up and go to Trentham towards the Size Prodigy Stakes. They didn't go that angle, but I know that Craig Grills was really happy to be on the horse again leading into that LSE race, and you can see why, with just how dominant the horse was. So he is, I think he's the right one in terms of favouritism. Very even field though, isn't it? Because you've just got a number of different form lines to work with here. You've got horses coming off the back of midweek victories. You've got horses that have raced well through a couple of stakes races. So each and every year this race throws up a good one. And once again we might see that again with this field. And we know that Stephen Marsh likes to try and target this race. He's had a lot of success in recent times in this particular race.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Stephen Marsh, Paul, because the next free play I've got for you is the second favourite in the race in Super Photon. Well, Domain Ace was impressive. This wasn't far behind it.
No, it wasn't. And Force of Law was also in this race, went straight to the lead. And I thought finished off with credit. However, we'll probably need to find another few links because Super Photon, who just sat in behind the lead, popped out at the turn and then just let down with a super turn of foot. Winning with these, I thought his form through the line suggests that the step up to 1,400 metres would mean that it's right in his wheelhouse right now. So, yeah, it's a super field, this one.
Yeah, it is a nice field. The 1,400 won't worry it. Shandout to Chandelier, Steve, Super Photon?
Yeah, half being by Super Seth to Mwanga, who was by Zavabeel. Right. So, real Waikato stud family, no knock on the distance. No. Look, things were favoured there in terms of the race shape. It was on speed dominant. They've run 34.99 off the front there at Ottawa Park. And Super Photon, what I liked about his win and his performance was he was able to jump, sit in the trail on debut, relax, peel off at the right time and finish over the top of them. So it was a very professional effort from Super Photon. Just on numbers though, he needs to improve 4 lengths versus what Domain Ace produced at Ellerslie a few weeks ago, but I'm willing to trust my eye on the second favourite.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's have a look at Renovations as the third favourite in the race at Te Rapa, out of Exile also in this race, Steve, as was the money, the horse that's had a bit of money in Ribcracker.
Yeah, look, the money was on this leader/winner, Renovations. Matty Cameron controlled the race, as you can see on the numbers. They've crawled to the 600, run home 34 and change for the last 600. Look, I gave the horse a performance rating of 79, which ranks currently number 2 in this field, in behind Domain Ace. Again, he looks the likely leader, but there is a little bit more pressure in this race. It'll be interesting to see what BP's thoughts are around the race shape and the pressure in the first furlong or two. But the likes of Ballon d'Or, Force of Law, There's 2 or 3 here that will probably want to go forward and produce some heat in the first furlong or two, which will probably generate a little bit more speed than what we saw there at Te Rapa when Renovations had its own way and did the job. Yeah,
you know a little bit about Renovations, BP?
Yeah, look, I saw this horse last weekend actually in an exhibition gallop. Very impressive with what the horse did in terms of having a good stretch of the legs leading into this race. And I know Matt's not on the horse this weekend, but he has been on the runner, of course, last start when winning then, and he just quickly had a quick word to him. He said, well, this horse is ready to go for next weekend for that 2-year-old race. So he was impressed. It was impressive to the eye, did it well on the clock. So I think the horse is in the zone. Gee, the trainer is as well. But boy, Cody Cole has got his team going in the right direction, hasn't he? He's had a super last couple of months coming off that summer period, has Cody Cole. She's a chance. You're right around speed, because I think Force of Law certainly showed his hand with what he did in that Super Futon race, wanting to go forward in that race. Is drawn in Barry number 6 with Kelly Myers aboard. So what will the tactics be for tomorrow's race? Drew Barrier 4 when leading in that race. And then, yeah, the other one was Bella Dior, the 3-runner, of course, out of the Mackay barn, which is another possible one. But I think with what we saw there from Renovations, I'm sure they'll be looking to try and find that spot they found last time and try and get that success at the same venue with Renovations.
Yeah, OK, we'll stay with you, BP, because you mentioned Ballon d'Or and Star Shadow and Windsong all come out of the same race from Otaki. We're sort of in that middle market, those 3 horses.
Look, they are. I mean, look, Star Shadow was a horse who produced and won the race nicely to get the prize. And, of course, Fortuna, gee, they've had a big week as well, these colours. They provided a jumping success, of course, with a former Wellington Cup winner in leaderboard winning at Warrnambool. They won the last race as well with Marlborough Bay, so it's been colours that are flying. Just gets the upper hand here. I actually really did like the run of the second horse overall with the way that it's come back on the line. Windsong's done its best work through the line back in the field. So what do you do with that form? Where does that sit with what you've seen in terms of those other performances we've shown you with Domain A, Super Futon and also Renovations? Just trying to find that puzzle where that race sits for mine. I'm sort of leaning towards those other videos that we've seen. But maybe if I was to take one out of that race, I did like the second horse maybe as a sneaky chance for the top 4 in Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, OK. Last race replay, Paulie, is Windrush and Magnum Memory are both at Pukekohe here. Windrush running 2nd, Magnum Memory 5th.
Yeah, Magnum Memory did last at the turn here and then flew home into 5th, recording some very, very quick sectionals. Rush displayed a ton of courage, being 3 wide the trip. He seemed to have to come to the end of his run with about a furlong and a half to go, but found another gear. I thought it was a super effort by Windrush, and I think at the price we're out at around double figures at the moment. It's certainly worth a bit of an each-way go.
Yeah, OK. Well, tell us what is worth an each-way go in this race, Paul. What are your numbers? How are you having a bet in? Because it is a nice field. It's a tricky field. I don't know if we've made it any clearer for anyone yet.
No, we've probably messied the waters, to be fair, and it's very hard to look away from the top of the market with Domain Ace and Super Photon. Yeah, okay. But if I was to have a little look outside those 2, then I certainly wouldn't be adverse to putting Windrush in there somewhere. OK,
we've had a little bit of money for it. Steve mentioned $300 Windrush. What are you thinking? Final thoughts here in the race, the 2-year-old?
Well, I'm purely focusing on the map here. Domain Ace has drawn the outside gate in barrier 11. I think they'll default to the last third, similar to where it's shaped and mapped at Ellerslie last start. But I'll go with number 2, Super Photon. Again, needs to improve on numbers, but as we know, juveniles can significantly improve race by race, and I'm banking on Super Photon and trusting my eye that performance at Ottawa Park. I reckon he could have clocked up a couple more gears if needed, but he was so dominant in the end. It was pretty easy going in the last furlong or 2 around Super Photon. I liked how he travelled for an early juvenile to make his debut. He travelled really well in running.
Professional, wasn't he?
He was able to take his sit, peel off at the right time, and then really attack the line. So, he's drawn barrier 3, and Michael McNabb with plenty of options. There'll be 3 or 4 which we've named, which will come across, sit on speed. I think it will be a fraction below even tempo, but definitely not a crawl as we saw some of those lead-up races were, and that will suit Super Photon. He'll just be right in that striking zone, come around the turn, and he'll be very hard to beat. He's beautifully bred, so no surprise if he can gallop.
OK. BP, can you get away from a top 2 in the market? Give us your final thoughts here.
Yeah, look, it's a good race, isn't it? And Domain Ace looking to remain unbeaten, and also the stable trying to go back-to-back. Of course, they delivered a win in this race with Solidify, of course, too, 12 months ago. Yeah, look, I like a number of different angles to the race. I think renovations, though, I just keep coming back to what I saw last week and the performance there out of Te Rapa on a soft 7 surface. So happy to roll with her. I think the top two are going to be hard to beat as well. So, hey, look, might be a same race multi. Little same race multi there maybe. Don't worry about power plays now, and bookmakers trying to formulate some sort of power play that you don't like. Just make your own same race multi with maybe some renovations, top 3, top 4, and a bit of Domain Ace, top 2, somewhere along those lines. So yeah, I think it's a great race for a little same race multi.
Hey, I got a lot of faith in you. I'll stick with you, kid, that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I like where your head's at, BP. Well spruiked there. Look, Lance O'Sullivan Award winner time, and why wouldn't he be getting a Lance O'Sullivan Award, this jockey?
That's right, that being the Wizard of Woz. He's really lining them up, isn't he, on the mantelpiece, is Warren. And this was a very good ride. You could have picked out any of his wins over the weekend. But let's go for this one with Freeze Frame. This is a win where the horse has to be held up for that last shot at them. And boy, he got it right, didn't he? Because if you can see where the runner is here, third to last, and then having to weave, and then he got the wand out and made sure that he could just get all that wizardry going. And it's about here, just between horses, to get the job done, and then really gets into its work. And even though getting that gap, those horses in front were certainly off and gone, but boy, didn't the horse really knuckle down. It was a good win, a really good win from Freeze Frame to get up right on the line. Sumi was flying as well in between runners, but it was a win to Freeze Frame, and more importantly, Lance O'Sullivan Award to Warren Kennedy.
Far more important, BP, far more important. Well done to Warren Kennedy. Okay, race number 7 on the card at Te Rapa is the Prezi card sprint over the 1,200 metres for the open class sprinters. Steve, run us through this market.
Oh, wrong graphic, lads. Let's go to Te Rapa. Pour the Wine, dominant favourite, $3, and best back runner early doors for the first, roughly 36, 48 hours. You see there at the top of the line, $3 flat. In front of Seamus at $4. Lukewarm around the second fave. Turn the Ace, $8 into 7.5. Shares that third line with Kingfisher. Highlighter resuming at $8. Double figures around not ideal. Top weight is claiming 3 kilograms not ideal to get it down to 59 at $12. Sharing the same price of Winning for All. Mac Thief at $19. Quality Time, interesting runner. Aussie Raider at $21. Screaming Eagle at $21, and Mr. Universe ranks off the team at $35. But look, overall summary, Thaddeus, Pour the Wine best back runner, $3 quote. A little bit of a turn for number 3, Turn the Ace, 8 in the 750.
Okay, a little bit of a nibble for Turn the Ace, but it's Pour the Wine, BP, who is our favourite, and it's had an excellent campaign. Does look the real up-and-comer in the race, Pour the Wine.
For sure, and this is a win where Sacred Satono's won and paid outrageous odds, and of course it pelted down. They still ran 109 on the first race out of Ellerslie a couple of weeks ago. She is in good form. She's in really good nick. Is Pour the Wine. She's going to run a race. She's had a busy preparation. She's a runner that's been up since the 1st of January, where she went bang, 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 winning those first 3 races. Did Pour the Wine. Interesting to see her record of the left-handed way of going, that she's had 4 starts left-handed where she's only had the 1 minor placing. That's definitely a red flag. It's not enough to just go, well, I'm not touching Pour the Wine, but just something I think to bear in mind leading into tomorrow's race. Heavy track conditions, where does that sit? Of course, we're 24 hours out from the race as we go live today with the preview of this meeting. There could be a chance of it coming back a pair or two. She'd like that. I know she has one on a heavy surface, but look, the runs are on the board. She's running honest races. She has to be in your top 3, doesn't she, with the way she's running?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Pour the Wine looking good. Look, Seamus is an interesting runner, Steve, I thought, and Paulie may have some thoughts here as well, but with the Murdochs here, Steve, and it's running second in a trial, not Alan Sharrock, obviously.
No, I think that's just the change of environment for Seamus. A bit of beach work for Maura Murdoch and the team there up at Pukekohe. Look, a couple of red flags for me around Seamus. barrier 1, which could end up being problematic. If you look at the speed, I could see Seamus getting back 3-back rail there. Yeah, I don't know. There's just a couple of red flags. The 59 equal top weight, obviously, but not ideal. Claiming 59 kilograms for Seamus. Drawn barrier 1, 3-back rail with the speed coming likes of Turn the Ace, Winning for All. Screaming Eagle, who's drawn the outside gate, will come across and put itself in the first 2 or 3. So with a little bit of pressure from horses that are drawn obviously outside Seamus, he could get shuffled back 3-back rail. And I don't know, I'm just looking at this horse, this preparation, and identifying the best time to potentially lay the horse. And even though he's got a solid record first up, I think he's won 3 times at first up, I'm just looking at this setup. Look, he's had the 1 trial leading in. I know he's not from a punting stable now that he's moved from Alan Sharrock, so the early indication around the money is not as strong for us to identify, because if there was a lack of money coming out of the Alan Sharrock stable, that would definitely be a red flag. But out of the Murdoch camp, it's not really a punting stable, so we can't assess how he is in terms of first up. But yeah, I don't know, just a couple of red flags, and just taking it purely on the price, I had him closer to double figures than what his current price of $4 is. So on that score, I'm willing to take a set against him first up, and then make it tough for punters second, third up in the right race.
Paulie, thoughts on Seamus first up?
I'll wait for him to drift out to double figures and then I'll jump on. Because I think the change is as good as a holiday for Seamus, and I think with the fact that he's now in that Murdoch barn,
beach work.
As Steve said, he'll be getting a bit of beach work, so nice and easy on the limbs, and I think we can see him just ease back into it. So this may be one start too soon, but if he does drift, then I'm willing to have a little go. Look, if you can find that form that he had, we're looking a couple of years ago now when he was sort of winning races back to back.
Yeah.
But that last start before the trial wasn't the worst either. So it does seem that he is starting to get there. And in that trial, he really wasn't asked to overexert. He seemed happy in his work. So if we do get the drift, and I hope we do, I'm certainly keen to have a little go on Seamus.
Yeah, okay. BP, the next race replay we've got is Turn the Ace. This is a bit of a winner. This is winning a trial, I believe, at Matamata. Yeah.
It is, and we've seen him do this. We've seen him come off the back of a winning trial, and then present first up, and then he hasn't performed, and then he's done it second up. But he has won first up, but it was when he on debut where he trialled, and he won at Te Rapa over 1,200 metres, and that was, of course, a lead-up towards actually winning tomorrow's feature in the Waikato Equine Vets race in 2011. He has great track stats. He enjoys heavy track conditions. If he's prepared to take him on at $8, I think he's a horse you have to have something on, because we just know how well he operates here at this venue, and with the track condition in that sort of 7-8 bracket, if it's somewhere in there, that's definitely a sweet spot for him. So I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to assess him. Is he a winning chance? Am I better to just sit on my hands here and wait for him to go around tomorrow, and then wait for second up? Then what if he comes out and wins and pays $8 and you go, you idiot? But then I've got him in the quaddie. So yeah, I don't know. I find him a really tricky horse to assess. I want to be on him, but I'm also unsure.
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up, to be fair, but yeah, going around at $8, there has been a little nibble for him, so there is some confidence in the camp around Turn the Ace. Last race replay, Steve, Screaming Eagle, Kingfisher, and the very underrated Winning for All going around at Te Rapa.
Yeah, rating 75, class race. I was pretty taken by Kingfisher this day. Had to carry the 59.5, drew wide gate, went back to folded to last outer in the red cap. Cut through nicely, and I think the key around this horse, and I love this setup when you're getting off track, anything around that 7 to 8 pentometer reading or worse, I don't mind horses stepping up in grade and dropping in weight significantly, and that's where you find Kingfisher. Drops to 54 kilograms off that 59.5 it carried a few weeks back on the same track. So won't mind any given the track, no doubt about it, Kingfisher. So Winning for all, I suppose my question goes back to you, gents, who have a little bit of a share in the horse. Where are we
very
sitting
little.
with this horse?
Poorly.
Well,
I'm going to say the run was better than it looked. Did a lot of work in the run. Can we make excuses here?
it certainly needed the run.
Sure.
Needed the run.
Okay, let's go with that. Let's go with that.
We'll take some natural improvement out of that. Drops down, 6 kilos off of that race. So, look, I'm trying to look for positives there.
Got stuck down on the inside. They were winning out wide. I've got them all here. I've got a list.
Cliche.
Yeah.
Winning chance.
So the money would suggest it's not a winning chance at this point out there at $12 and friendless, but Paul and I do have a very, very minute share.
Not a punting syndicate.
No. Okay, yeah, exactly. Final thoughts here, gents. I'll start with you, Paul. What are you going to be backing in the sprint here?
Look, I'm really keen to see if Seamus does start to drift as we get closer to race start time on Saturday. If that is the case, I'm going to wait, bide my time, and I'm happy to have a little go just in case Seamus is ready to go fresh up. So, yep, Seamus, look, Pour the Wine will be very, very tough to beat. So you've got to have it in there. And, yeah, look, I'll have a little stab on winning for a while. I will have a go.
You have to have a little bit on, wouldn't you? You and Steve were in total agreement last week, and it's all turned to custard this week around Seamus. You're going against Seamus, Steve. What are your final
Just
thoughts
aim at the price. I think he'll drift from the $4. Not to say he'll start at $10, where I rate him a 10% chance at 100% market, but I do think if you like Seamus, just play the patient game. You'll get a better price on race day. I look at this race as a whole. I don't think there's much between them because there's a few red flags against most horses. Either a lot of horses wanting a genuine heavy track. You look at Turn the Ace, all 3 of his best performance ratings have been on a heavy 10, and heavy 9. You look at Pour the Wine, outside gate, hasn't performed as well left-handed, will go back to the last third, will rely on tempo, luck and running, etc. So I'm just willing to play one here first up, Highlighter, who's a very good record at Te Rapa. I've been really taken by the 3 trials leading in for the O'Sullivan Scott trained galloper. Has a performance rating career best of 92.2, which is significantly below 7 or 8 of the other horses in this race. But like I say, there's just some negatives around some of the horses that have a higher performance rating. One being that wet track, horses wanting a bit wetter, further in trip, and a lot of those PRs around those horses that have a higher one than Highlighter have been 2 or 3 seasons ago. So just wanted to take a punt on Highlighter. I think he'll map well. He's in the first 4 or 5. As I say, he loves Te Rapa. That's where his best performance has been last season, so you don't have to go too far back. And I think you'll get double figures on race day.
Okay, Highlighter for Steve. BP, final thoughts here. How are we having a bet into the Prezi card sprint?
I'm going to go for the stablemate of Highlighter. I actually think Kingfisher is a bet in the race, to be honest with you, and it could be the 1x3 type play. This horse was desperately unlucky in a 6-horse field when it couldn't get out, and it was so unlucky that day. The track was a soft 7, but it was turning to a heavy rather quickly that day out of Tauranga. This horse will get a heavy track condition or somewhere near it, and we've even seen the runner perform well on a good surface only, 3-4 starts ago when winning here at Te Rapa on Champions Day on the 10th of February. I think he's ready to strike again, I really do, and I think that last run just gave us that indication. Yes, it's gone up in grade, but that means it's dropping in weight, as Steve pointed out. From what did it carry that day? 59.5, drops back to 54 kilos. So 1x3 play there, and maybe a little sneaky on Turn the Ace as well, just in case, little side bet, little side salad.
Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. Then followed by Jekyll and Hyde, the clerk of the course, picking up the riderless horse behind the leader. The front runner is Frankenstar. Here comes the first favourite, Affluential. He's coming on the outside. Frankenstar going up and down in the 1 spot. The stablemate Vanguard back to the inside. Bellex1 presents. Then followed Tom Spoory and Cross Hill. Bellex1 on the outside. Goes up to take a narrow lead at the annual. Trying to get off the canvas is the count 0. He's coming back at Bellex1.
It's not often you have to avoid the clerk of the course to get a run. Who's doing hard time? All the patrons will be doing hard time at Warrnambool after a big week there. It was hard times all round at the carnival at the Bull.
Well, first of all, how did the clerk of the course not get the Lance O'Sullivan Award for this week? Fair dinkum. That was some super horsemanship there. I thought absolutely brilliant. But when it comes to the carnival time at the Bull, there's one guy who's always doing hard time, and he's doing hard time because he's given 150% every time he calls a race. Rick McIntosh, just absolutely superb once again over the 3 days. Yeah. Wonderful.
BP, Rick McIntosh, he'd be hoarse by the end of it, wouldn't he? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, here all week.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, look, he gives it his all, doesn't he? And it's not very often that you have a carnival, that you look forward to a carnival and you think of a commentator straight away. Sometimes you get to a carnival, you think of the great horses that have won. And we know that it's not about Rick McIntosh, but it's hard not to, when you know that the Warrnambool Carnival's on, that you know how bloody good the bull is with Rick McIntosh. So he really ripped in the Briley steeplechase. He actually didn't give us the seriously how bloody good's the bull yesterday in the Grand Annual, but he ripped in the Briley, and yeah, he gives it his all, and his calls are magical. Look, what I will say about that Clerk of the Course piece there, we actually saw it. Was it last year at Te Rapa? A very similar thing where a loose horse was coming onto the course proper, and of course they come around the outside at Te Rapa, and the Clerk of the Course had to try and rein a horse in. Look, I think you'd rather see that and then a horse being captured than what we know what could happen in terms of a dire result. I know there's been a lot of people critical of the Clerk of the Course, but in terms of safety, they've been able to stop what we don't know what could happen, and you better think what could happen if that loose horse was there with that field coming in that direction. So, yeah, incredible horsemanship.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. That is a skill in itself, no doubt. OK, let's head down south, team. We've got 2 races at Riccarton we want to have a look at, but before we get there, let's talk about weather and track, Steve.
Yeah, similar to Te Rapa, fine weather today and race day. Look, rail is out 5 metres. You go back to the last meeting, which was on the 20th of last month. The rail was true, and similar track conditions. It was a soft 5 that day. So, yeah, look, should play fair all lanes up the straight. Obviously, we had the synthetic meeting yesterday, which won't hamper, obviously, the turf. But, yeah, I'd be looking at a soft 5 with the weather being okay for today and race day. OK, let's get to the 2-year-old race down there. It's race number 4 on the card, the Barclays Stud Champagne Stakes over the 1,200 metres for the 2-year-olds. He headed by Discretion Rules at $3.60 off the original quote of 3.4. Great time, bit of a firmer here, 5 into 3.9. Ziggy Stardust at a $5 quote off the peak of 5.50. Colonial Warden first up, stablemate of the Fave at 5.50. Outside that, Rose of Dublin, who always tracks money, Thaddeus, as you well know in the office. Last 2 starts have been a losing liability, 12 into 10. Is best of the rest. So, look, overall summary, best firmer and best bat runner sits with the second fave in Great Time. Yeah, OK, a little bit for Great Time, but I want to start at the Welcome Stakes, BP, and that was it with our favourite Discretion Rules running second, but a lot of combatants come out of that Welcome Stakes. They do, and I guess when Discretion Rules heads out onto the track tomorrow, Discretion Rules will be looking around going, OK, where's Nuclear Zor? Because that's a horse that has beaten me so far. Oh, good, it's not here. So that's a great start to the day for Discretion Rules. And really, I mean, those form lines have been outstanding. I know the horse is winning by good margins, but he's also holding the rest of them out, isn't he? Is Discretion Rules. So no short price Nuclear Zor to worry about. He does get his chance. I will say, though, I think Great Time's a horse that was very impressive last time to the races. Like that was some win out of Riverton. Robert Dennis, he's a very good trainer, and he has no fear in travelling his horses to Riccarton to looking to getting the job done. So I think that's a big danger. Yeah, there's no doubt. There's been money for this horse both times it's been to the races and got the job done in style here, Steve. Yeah, jumped well, led early. Sam Wynn controlled the race up front. Last 400. They've run home, or the individual has run home the best 4 and 200 metres of the meeting, which is expected over 1,100 metres. Look, class rating was above par, 1.7 lengths above the grade of the race. But as BP mentioned, I understand it was a heavy track, has to go back on what we predict a soft 5 on Saturday. But look, the win, if you can put into some context how it compared to Discretion Rules when running second the Welcome Stakes, Great Time was 1.5 lengths stronger. So on that score, for a horse that likes to jump and run, I've got no knock coming back to a soft 5 for this individual. If you look at pedigree, etc., I reckon this horse starts fave and a dominant fave. And if you like him to 3.90, I'd snap it up. I reckon it trades below $3 close to race start time.
Crikey Dick. Paul, that's a ringing endorsement.
Certainly is, and I certainly agree with Steve. I thought the run by great time. Yeah, well,
come with me, mate.
Hey, new shirt, big guy. Yeah, no, I thought that run by great time was super, and yeah, I agree with Steve. I think we're going to see a big crunch. We've already seen a bit of a crunch in terms of the odds for great time. I think we're going to see some more. So if you are keen on a Friday morning as we talk live, I'd be getting on now because I think we'll close fave. I thought Mamma Mia, who was in behind, ran into third there. Will probably have to improve a number of lengths to be in the finish here because at the top of the market there's a fair bit of class. I know that sort of form around Nucleazor in terms of
ball, that Nucleazor, doesn't he?
He looks like a bag of muscles.
Conversation for another time.
Discretion rules. And if we do get the drift, which we probably will if Great Time does get the squeeze, then maybe worth a wee bit of a go later on. So, but yeah, Great Time was very, very impressive there last time out.
Okay, can be maybe the saver discretion rules if we wait, if we're patient,
Indeed.
if the move comes. Okay.
Yeah.
You're thinking good. Steve, the last replay was the trial of a first starter here, Colonel Warden. Trialled at Tauranga and took that out. Heads down south for the Walker Burgesson team.
Interesting runner. Obviously, got a little bit of time for this horse to go first up on debut in a stakes race down in Christchurch, and you got to respect the stable. Again, there's no clear lead which way they're angling towards. The race day experience around the favourite or the current favourite discretion rules around the debutant here. But look, a horse that in its trials has got tactical speed, will put itself in the race, beautifully bred by Russian Revolution. So you'd think 1,400 metres will be its sweet spot, a real sprinting type. So look, Ashwin gets the ride down here, and yeah, I think it's a horse that might track a little bit of early money on race day third, but naturally these debutants up against the seasoned 2-year-olds and the race day form might be a little bit soft. So again, it's just a delicate process if you want to back this horse, but I'd be leaning towards a bit of a patient game, a bit like a few other horses we've touched on today.
Okay, well, you obviously sort of laid your cards on the table here. We know what you like in the race.
Yeah, I'm keen on Great Time. I think Kylie Williams will have options. I think looking at the race as whole, discretion rules I think will lead. That's what we've seen in the data thus far. A horse that will jump, probably lead, and I think that gives options for Kylie Williams, who will be aboard Great Time. She can obviously trail, maybe get to her outside, sit outside discretion rules, and I've got no dramas going from a heavy to a soft 5. I'm banking on the numbers that it produced when winning last start. It rates, like I say, it rates at least 1.5 lengths stronger than the opposition. There's a few there that, as we say, are making their debuts, etc. So it's a little bit of an unknown when you get to 2-year-olds, but I love race day experience and form, so Great Time. And as I say, I think SP is below $3.
Okay, Paul, final thoughts here. Who are we having a bet on? We haven't even mentioned the third favourite yet in Ziggy Stardust.
Well, having sung the praises of Great Time, I'm actually going to have a little go on Ziggy Stardust. I don't mind that northern form in behind Super Futon. Futon. Put me to bed now.
Go to sleep,
Super Photon. So I think Ziggy's a big chance here.
Okay.
So I'm hoping there's a bit of a speed battle on up front around discretion rules, maybe the stablemate as well, maybe Great Time gets pulled into it as well, and then we can see Ziggy start off come off the just in behind them and let down with a good run. Look, I know Ziggy was a number of lengths behind Super Photon, but I thought it was an encouraging run.
It was getting home strongly that day, wasn't it?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, okay. BP, final thoughts here. Who are we having a bet on in the Champagne Stakes?
I like Great Time, and if Stephen's suggesting this horse could tighten up, Odd Surge is $4.50 on this run at Great Time, so it sits at $3.90. But you can get $4.50 on the Odd Surge. It'll be on each and every race there tomorrow out of Riccarton. And maybe that's the play now before the horse starts tightening up in the market. If I was to look at another play, I think maybe a same race multi top 2, Great Time into discretion rules, top 3 might be a little play also that I might look into for one of the features there out of Riccarton.
Odd surge. Nice from BP. We'll talk about that a little bit
later.
Yeah, the cat's out of the bag there and well and truly. And if you're watching the show on a Friday, good luck to you. There's the spoil for those that watch live on the leg up.
Look, I'm not surprised that BP picked it up. He picks up a lot of the new shiny toys that we have.
Misses nothing, does he?
He does not miss a thing. So, yes, I think earlier you mentioned the same race multis.
What's the segment called? Over's Gods, that's right.
Oh, yes, yeah, back to where we should be.
Yeah, let's have a look at last Saturday with Over's Gods and see what the big movers were and how they performed. Geez, they were just a half a stride, late and half a step short here. Just won 23 into $9 for Stephen Marsh. Ran a very strong fourth. Sir Sterling, I think, should have won. Race number 3, $4.20 into $2.80. Blissful Lady for the Forsman team, 16 into $7. Fourth. Mary Shan, this was a decent go around Mary Shan, back to 1,200 metres. I think you'll be seeing her around 1,600 pretty soon.
Very late as well, Thaddeus.
Yeah, very late. Didn't look like it was happening with Mary Shan, and then suddenly, and she ran very strongly into 6. Go back and have a look at the run around Mary Shan. You want to be on her next start wherever she goes. Carmen Line just knocked off late in proceedings by Warren Kennedy and BP's Lance O'Sullivan Award winner and freeze frame final purchase. This was a bit of a go, and they were not far away either. In the big one there, 61 into $18 was the worst result in the book by quite some margin, and just got knocked off in the last stride by Apostrophe down to Whanganui. They kick-started the day with a hiss and a roar. Caitlin's Wish, 850 into 420. Rocker Baby was a big go. Rocker Baby will keep $8 into $3.30. Shakira Lass returned from the Oaks and ran beautifully, 13 into $6, storming into third. And not for the first time, Tobias has been a mover. It was a mover again, 14 into $7, managed third, runs on the speed. So if Tobias can find the right race, that could be winning at relatively short notice. Okay, last race we want to have a look at, team race number 7 on the card at Riccarton is the Avon City Ford Easter Cup over the 1,600 metres. Steve, the market, please.
Yeah, Harlot, well tried in the first day or two, Thaddeus. $4.50 into $4, heads the market. Adonaya at $6. Time's ticking at a $7 quote. The buffer 7.5 shares that same quote with Burgee. Chibano $8. Double figures around. We got Divine Sava at $8 and Green Luck also at $9. So what do we got there? 7 or 8 horses in single figures, just representing how even this race is. Go Lottie has won its last 2, looking for a hat trick out there at $15, and Burn View best of the rest at $23. So, look, no clear lead, but what I will say is Harlot, $4.50 into $4 is your genuine firmer.
Okay, we'll have a look at Harlot first up. BP in the Canterbury Gold Cup was won by Green Luck, who looked gone at the 200 and came again.
Yeah, it was a really good ride from Kylie, wasn't it, on Green Luck. Great to see him back in this form, actually, Green Luck, to get the prize. We've seen him run so well, and look, of course, in Group 1 races, you go back to the day that he ran, of course, what was it, in the Livermore, wasn't it, where he finished did he finish 4th that day? He did, he ran 4th, and it was a really testing track that day behind Mustang Valley, but he finished 4th on that occasion, and he found his form again. I guess this time round, it's the swing in the weights, isn't it, towards Harlot, who is slowly getting back to his better form. I mean, you've only got to go back to his 3-year-old days and how close he was and unlucky a number of times in Group 1 races. This horse, he's putting it together with his recent runs in the South Island, and maybe this is the chance to get a 1 in front of those placings. Was it a 3.5 kilo swing in the weights on Green Luck, and that just might be enough to swing it in his favour.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been a while between drinks for Harlot, though, Paul or Steve. It'd be good to see him back in the winner's circle.
Yeah, it's a bit like...
they crawled in that race, didn't they?
They absolutely crawled. I don't think a placing or any... where they were positioned at the top of the straight remained when they went through the winning post. So it was a glorified crawl and sprint, and mathematically those horses that were even 2 or 3 lengths off the leaders had no chance. So it's hard to read, knowing the fact that was 2,000 metres, dropping back to 1,600 metres. It's a tricky race, because even some other lead-up races, which we'll touch on shortly, 14 up to 16. So it just makes it a little bit sticky when you're doing the form.
Okay.
I think Harlot's ready to go.
Yeah, okay. No,
off
fair
of that
play.
run.
Yeah,
I think
Stable deliberately taken 2 or 3 horses that lost confidence in the North Island.
Yeah.
They've gone down there, they've gained some confidence. I'm not saying that Harlot's won yet, but gee, he's racing well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's at his best to what he was as a 3-year-old, but
No. He's certainly getting back towards it, isn't he? They've done well with Harlech. Okay, next race replay, guys. I've been struggling with that today. Great Easter Stakes. Adnaya is back in this race. Paul Burnview's a consistent performer. Finished 10th. Have you got any of these in your numbers?
Yeah, I thought Adnaya was a very, very good run here in behind. Was it Sassy Merlot, I think? It just kept... She just kept coming. And I like the way that she just... I think the step up to 1,600 metres, I think it'll be ideal for her as well. She's got a nice draw out in 7. Yeah, she's certainly in my numbers at the moment. I've got a lot of time for Adnaya.
Yeah, didn't you tip Adnaya last week, Steve, in the race? I think you did. Ears backs are scratching as well. Look, update your scratchings there.
Adnaya, first time 1,600 metres, which is interesting enough. They've decided to roll the dice there, where you look at a horse like Burnview, just loves 1,600 metres at Riccarton. So, interesting one, but Adnaya definitely has the performance ratings if it can go at that 1,600 metre level and show that PR, which it's shown over shorter trips, 1,400 and 1,200 metres. So, yeah, interesting one, because a lot of those horses that are coming out of the Easter Sprint have to step up to 1,600 metres, and they're up against, like I say, those horses dropping back from 2016.
That's always tricky. Last race replay is the Buffer. This is over a mile, Steve. Where were they? Timaru this day, Far Lap Raceway.
Yeah, I think what you've got to do is go back to 2 starts ago as well. Watch this visually as well, but go back 2 starts when it ran in the Southern Alps. Had no luck. It was second last coming around the turn, and it just found brick wall after brick wall after brick wall and was never tested in the straight. Last start here, just put an inferior field away with some arrogance. It was dominant. The performance rating was 1 length off his very best. So even though he's a rising 8-year-old, he's had 70 odds still. I think it's his 70th start this weekend. He's racing as good as ever as the Buffer. So, yeah, I've definitely got him in the mix. $8 price, hard to value where his SP will be, being a competitive field. But, yeah, don't get put off by the age and, like I say, how many race starts he's had. 2 starts ago, super unlucky. Okay. And last start put an inferior field away. But the number was there to back it up.
Okay, so that's what you're going to be having a bet on in the...
I think so. Look, I'm not confident. It's an even race, which we've seen graphically, $4 the field, but pretty keen on the Buffer at a nice each way quote. Okay, you got the Buffer in your numbers, Paul? Talk the Buffer or how you attacking the race? Final thoughts here.
Yeah, look, I know that was a small field that the Buffer beat, but I thought that was a super win. Grabbed the lead very, very early, controlled the race, and then just went bang at the right time. Yeah. Without really having to do too much at all. So, yeah, in there, but I really like the look of Harlech.
Building to a win?
I think so. We're getting very, very close. You don't want to miss out when Harlech does decide to win, and I think it could be this Saturday. Okay, the money's on to suggest that Harlech will be winning. BP, final thoughts here. Who are you backing in the Easter Cup?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the horse who won it last year, actually, and that being Time's Ticking. The horse carried 60 kilos when winning that race 12 months ago. And, of course, with Denby Rose Tate, gets it back to 59 kilograms. We know the runner has won multiple stakes races, even a stakes race this season in a Trentham Stakes. He's running really well. So I think coming back from the 2,000 metres back to the 1,600 metres should hold no fears for him. So he's at the right price, I think, is Time's Ticking. And Harlech's so close. Yes, he's been... a long time between drinks, but Harlech is getting really close to picking up another victory. So, yeah, maybe a little split bet around the 2 and the 3, but on the each way, Time's Ticking.
Oh, yeah.
Foreplay time on the leg up, your chance to win a $100 bonus bet multi. Go to the TAB Facebook page, interact with the leg up question. You could be in to win a bet with our 4 good things of the weekend. And before I get there, I just want to talk about last week briefly. I felt a bit sick with Pultritudinous running 5th. I thought we're going to get our money. We're going to get our money. Hundreds and hundreds of you watching from home were all relying on Paul and Pultritudinous to get the job done there in the leg up last week. And I apologise on Paul's behalf. Shout out to Craig Cordwell, the New Zealand darts player, works out there in New World, Porirua, bailed me up in the corner and said, go and tell that Paul Maoate I was on. I had win multis. I'd placed multis up for thousands. So that was a shame, wasn't it, Paul?
Cash out, cash out, cash out, cash out.
Okay.
Soft.
Onwards and upwards for the foreplay. Go to the TAB Facebook page. Let's get back on the horse, BP. What do you got this weekend?
Gee, we don't put bets on to cash them out, but let's go to race number 8 at Te Rapa Francie. Top 4, $1.95. Looks to be one of the most competitive races of the day, but I just love the setup around her, the track conditions, up to 1,400 metres. Top 4, $1.95.
Orly?
I'm going to Te Rapa, race 6, and look, the market is dominated by 2 of the favourites at the top there, but I'm going to go with Windrush with Tony Pike out of the 1 barrier with Sam Spratt on board, so I'm hoping that we go forward maybe and hang on for a top 4. So yeah, Windrush, top 4, Te Rapa race 6, $2.
Steve?
Yeah, I'll go to the feature at Riccarton, the Champagne Stakes for the juveniles. Great time, just on numbers. Is clearly the horse to beat in my eye. Top 3 at $1.55. Just a little bit of insurance purely because there's a little bit of an unknown there around a few debutants, etc. So top 3 at $1.55.
Okay, I've gone Te Rapa race 4, the Maiden, Baggio for the O'Sullivan Scott team. Plenty of money for it. First up, resuming. I think there's plenty of money for it in race 4 at Te Rapa for Saturday, out there at $8. So I've pushed the boat out for my 4 play. I don't usually get into the north of $2. But I have here Baggio top 4, $2.10. That $100 multi could return you $1,169.45. As I say, head to the TAB Facebook page and join along the fun. Okay, best bet time on the leg up. But before we see what we've got for our best bets this weekend, we want to have a little look back at how we managed to go last weekend.
Okay, I'm going to go to the 2-year-old race at Te Rapa. Like the chances of a first starter that has been burning them up at the trials and is ready to be unleashed on race day. Sister Kiani sits at $1.90 currently.
It's still Sister Kiani in front. Thuza hasn't gone away yet. Sister Kiani, Thuza's lifting. Thuza on the inside, Sister Kiani, and then followed in behind them by Money Penny. Oh, that's a brave win, Thuza.
I'm going to go to Te Rapa race 3. And you're going to have to look a wee bit down the page for my one. Number 7, Pennsylvania.
Cindy Falls out wide, swept to the lead. Sir Sterling's diving through on the inside. I'm Lulu late as well, but it's Cindy Falls in charge. Pennsylvania and Tawi will be the last of them home.
Must have been scratched.
I'll go early doors Te Rapa race 1 for the 3-year-olds. Over 1,600 metres. Tomodachi, real auspicious stayer.
Tomodachi went to the lead at the 200, solidifies trying to rally on the inside, then Bridal Train late, further back then to just 1, but it's Tomodachi, this very promising filly. She's going to go on and score here.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, Steve Hunt. We'll take the drift around Tomodachi as well. That was easy. And look, 3 of those 4-play legs won last week, even though the best bets didn't salute. Well, not all of them, certainly not yours, Paul. That didn't salute. Down the page and down the track, Pennsylvania.
You said last week the form wasn't there too.
even admitted
Still isn't.
It's got another 0 for the form line. Has Pennsylvania. BP, your horse will keep. As we mentioned, let's come back to you, BP, for your bet of the weekend this weekend. What have you found?
I'm going to go with the horse that I've made the 4-play bet in Francie. This runner has a super second-up record. Won over the Christmas Carnival, of course. What was it, Boxing Day when it won this day for Opie Bosson. It really sprinted hard underneath runners. It was a top win. And that was off the back of a performance where the horse just had a big flashing red light on her head out of Rotorua. I thought the run last time to the races just suggested that she's so close to winning again, and she's in that second up frame. She'll be hoping that the race can be run to her liking and she can try and boom home over the top with Warren Kennedy aboard. So we'll run with Francie at a little bit of each way for the best bet this week.
I like it. I like the price, BP. What about you, Paul? You reined it in this week by any stretch?
I'm a beaten man. I have no idea where I'm going. But what I am going to do, I'm going to head down to Riccarton Race 4. It's the listed Berkeley Stud Champagne Stakes. Over 1,200 metres for the 2-year-olds. And I'm going to go with a wee bit of North Island form. Yeah. I'm going with Tony Pike and Ziggy Stardust. I'm hoping that form in behind Super Photon stands up.
Yep.
If not, Put me to bed.
You're only up 50% ROI.
Oh, I'm disappointed in that.
Yeah, okay. Steve, your bet of the weekend, please.
Yeah, I'll go for Asgard. Won a Maiden really impressively a few weeks ago at Otaki, and the clock backed it up as well. Steps up to 65 grade at 1,600 metres. Now, it's drawn a wide gate, Thaddeus, but I don't think there's that much pressure underneath. So Billy Pinn does the riding here once again. I think he can go a little bit in 10 in the first furlong or two, put it in the race, as we saw last start at Otaki. If the race is run at a solid mile, no negative. This horse is probably destined for 2,000 metres and beyond. So Asgard is my best, and you have to wait to the very last race.
Okay. You may have noticed that there was no replay for my best bet. The producers are that disappointed in my performance.
They haven't even given you an overlay for your best bet.
They don't care.
They've stopped caring.
I've got to improve my performance to get a replay again.
Or you get an overlay.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's the deal. You're going to have to get Ziggy Stardust home this weekend. We'll talk Turkey then. Okay, boys. Bonus back runners. Let's talk bonus back runners for the weekend. Where are our bonus back? We've still got bonus back racing, haven't we, Paul?
Look, we have. There's a wee bit of a change. It's on 3 meetings this weekend. The first 4 races from Te Rapa, from Hawkesbury, and from Eagle Farm.
Yep.
So just 12 races for the bonus back because, as BP mentioned earlier,
yes,
every single race at Riccarton is an odd surge race. So we'll talk about that a wee bit later. I'm guessing we want to get to our bonus back runners.
Yeah, let's have a look at who we're going to suggest as our bonus back bets of the weekend. BP Queen Zoo, race number 4. Paul, Lock race number 1 at Te Rapa. Gone to the hurdle race. Gee, you do like to live dangerously. Te Rapa race 2, Powwow.
Purely on the map there, Thaddeus. Yeah. Leads, controls with Sam Spratt, hard to run down.
Yeah, okay. No, fair play. And Baggio, as I said, or Baggio. Te Rapa race 4 for me. The Lance O'Sullivan Scott team. So they're the bonus back runners. Just quickly talk about odd surge. Paul, what is it?
Well, it's exactly what it is. It's you're getting bigger odds on a horse. So every single runner in every race at Riccarton this Saturday will have an odd surge. You get to choose 1 per race. Right. Up to $100.
Okay, so that $100 bet. So we're going to have 10 odd surge bets at Riccarton on Saturday. That's what you're telling me?
1 per race. Well,
okay.
Is it 10 or 9 races?
Oh, nice. Probably 9 races.
Yeah. Where are you getting the 10th one from?
Oh, okay.
Jockey challenge.
Okay, and one other quick thing. No deductions. Is that still with us? Do we still have
no deductions? No surprises.
To knock that on the head yet?
Still there. Bet with confidence.
Okay, no deductions. It's still here. The world's leading no deductions. Best promotion that there is. BP, you'd agree with that?
Yeah. Look, I think everyone was hoping that would still be there, and of course it is. So, look, what I will say is just give yourself some time. You know, if it's today or before Saturday arrives, if Saturday's your main betting day and you haven't really used the website or the app, just find a half an hour. You know, maybe spend a couple of dollar bets on something, try and find out where to do your quaddies, where do you do trebles, so then you're ready to go for Saturday. That would be my best advice, is even if it's Friday night, once all the good harness is finished and you just think, right, I need to knuckle down. Gloucester Park's where I'm going. Right, I'm going to take some exactas. I'm going to do some trifectas, and I'm just going to spend little bets here to try and work out how to do all those fiddly bets so you're ready to go, because the best way to learn how to use the website is by practicing it and doing it, and then you're ready to go. So, yep, all the best, and I think it's, so far, same game multis. Wow, different world. Penrith Panthers game last night was just bang, 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 on. Probably got too many on, actually, but yeah, no, it's going good so far. Loving it, team.
Yeah, no, thanks, BP. We'll say goodbye to you. You'll be at Te Rapa tomorrow, no doubt, so we'll look forward to seeing you on course. Gentlemen, that's it for another week.
Yeah, also around those promotions, bonus cash now, which is basically a bonus bet, but a lot more flexible. So if you get a bonus cash of $20, you can split it up as many ways as you want.
Yeah, okay. Have a good weekend, Paul. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you, Thad. Yeah. Looking forward to getting an overlay next time.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, fingers crossed, brother. Fingers crossed. Thanks, Steve, for your efforts.
Next week, Thaddeus, Ottawa Park, Rotorua Cup and the Rotorua Stakes, and MP is the second tier meeting as well.
Okay, looking forward to that. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. Thank you for having us, and we'll see you in 7 days' time on the Leg Up.